Good morning, everyone. Or afternoon and evening. Yes. It's an original pun from the big fella there. Killmonger. Njadaka. Just gonna fix up a little bit of face stuff. So week one of Rocket being overseas, and I'm pleased to report that Hugo is still alive. I have managed to keep him fed and watered and walked for a whole week by myself. I feel that's a real achievement. So well done, me. Well, I didn't even think about what colour I'm going to highlight this with. Red leather, I think. Yes, aside from that, it's been another week leading up to Christmas. A variety of wonderful things has occurred at work. So, we're just counting down the days, friends. Hello there, Minimancer, and welcome. Now, I did start a little bit later today than I normally would. And that is because I slept in. because this week has been an exhausting week and I just couldn't do it anymore. I had 2 Christmas parties yesterday. 2. Which is too many in my books. No, you're right, there is no shame in it, but normally I do like to get up and at 'em from the perspective of I like to get up and paint them. On my weekends. Been a pretty strong week of painting though, mostly because I've been so terribly frustrated at work. And also Rocket being overseas, so I've just been able to get cracking on models from the moment I got home and have finished walking, little dickhead. So come on, do the locomotion with me. You gotta swing your hand now. Come on. Do the locomotion with me. It's been a very good week of games of Marvel Crisis Protocol. I managed to play 2 games at the shop on Wednesday night, and then one of the gentlemen I play at the shop, Corey, came over on Thursday night and we played some Marvel Crisis Protocol on stream. So if you're interested in knowing what this malarkey's all about, you can go and watch it. And then also got to play a game over TTS last night. So we finished up with a nice round total of 6 games this week. And so I tried out Black Order, A-Force, and shit, who did I try out on Wednesday? I won 1 and lost 5, but 5 of those games were against, 4 of those games were against Corey, and 1 of them was against Leaps, who are both, probably 2 of the best players in Australia. So I don't concern myself too much with win-loss in this particular context. But I am definitely pleased with my... Yeah, their models look way shitter than mine. But I'm definitely pleased with my progress of, first of all, understanding the game and the models, and then how close I'm getting to them. So in the 3 games that I played Corey on stream, in 2 of them, it looked like I was going to win very, very much. And he managed to pull it out with stuff that was really good. So at the point I'm at in this game, I'm not really trying to win as yet, as dumb as that sounds. What I'm trying to do is understand the nuance of the game, learn all of the models. When I was playing Guild Ball and War Machine, the thing that made me better than most players was purely and simply knowledge. Because I'm sure most of you know how crazy my memory is for things, some things. Not my girlfriend's birthday, but other things. So I was able to make the right decisions at any moment because I had a full encyclopedic knowledge of all of the model's capabilities at any given moment. And so right now, the phase that I'm in this game is learn all of the model's capabilities, learn all of the various details of the game, learn all of the crises, learn all of the everything, so that I can reach that point of having more knowledge than most, so that I can then make good decisions. G'day, Jared. So yeah, so the win-loss ratio isn't weighing on my mind at the moment. If I've completed my journey of learning all the rules and learning everything, and I continue to lose 5 out of 6 games, then I'd be a little more concerned. But yeah, to be the best, you got to beat the best and learn from the best. G'day, Diddy. Yep. That's true. Ricky Bobby, one of my heroes. Go, Kung Fu. What color to do? Maybe we will go this charred brown. He's on fire. Okay, Benny. Let me give you a very, very, very quick rundown of a game. So the first thing that happens when you're selecting your list is you pick 10 models. 10 models for both sides. You then also pick 10 tactics cards. And those tactics cards can be pretty impactful. So, and then the final thing that you do, and this is important, there's two types of scenarios in the game. The first is called extracts. And so your extracts are missions that are placed out on the board that you can pick up and move around. So you extract them from the board. And there are a variety of things there. You know, pieces of a cube or hammers that you can pick up and because you're worthy, etc., etc. And so those extracts, you pick 3 different extracts. So there's 3 different types of missions that you've picked. The missions generally have a variety of different, you know, win conditions and blah blah blah. You also have 3 secures. So the secures are locations on the board that are fixed and do not move, with some exceptions. They do move. So both sides will have 3 secures and 3 extracts. Then at the start of the game, you both roll a priority roll. The person who decides, the person who wins decides if they would like to choose from their extracts or their secures. So you get to basically look at your opponent's scenarios that they've selected and choose the ones that suit you best. However, it's randomly assigned. So you'll randomly get one of those 3 and your opponent will randomly get one of their 3 of the other type. So you'll always have 1 secure and 1 extract, and they'll both be randomly selected from the 3 you have. Once that has been determined, you'll then move into the list selection phase. So the person who didn't win priority and who didn't get to choose which of their 3 scenarios they would like to use, they get to select the threat value for the game. So every one of those crisis cards has a threat value from 15 to 20. Of the 2 that have been assigned to the game, the person who has not got priority gets to pick the points value. So even though you get to choose the scenario that you'll be playing, the other person gets to pick the points. You absolutely see your 10 models your opponent has, you see the 10 cards they have, you see everything. So, that all happens prior to the game itself. The priority roll happens, so you now have determined the scenarios, and you now have determined the points value. At that point, both players choose from their roster of 10 models a roster equal to the number of threat the game is. So if it was a 17-point game, both players pick a 17-point roster, as an example, and pick 5 tactics cards to go along with those models. So one of the things I love most about the game is that not only do you get to have list design prior to the game and thinking about what 10 models you want to include and what cards you want to include, you also get to do list design at the table, trying to analyse what your best selection of models is for your 17 points or your 19 points, based on the scenarios, based on what your opponent's brought. So it's just a really interesting part of the game, because you can win or lose the game at that point by picking a shit list or Yep, it really is. And so that's one of the things I was saying before. I'm in a knowledge gathering phase right now. I'm not really concerned with the win or loss ratio. I'm just trying to understand the game and understand why I should make the decisions I should make, and so yeah, it's good. It's very good. Well, you've got so much replayability within the extracts and secures. So to be clear, there's 13 extracts and 12 secures. So the possible combinations there, 12 times 13. I don't know what that is. Feels like it'd be over 150, given that 12 12s are 144. So 12 13s would be 156. So there's 156 possible scenario combinations. That does not include the table. So the scenario, the terrain can have a huge impact on the game as well. So everything on the table is called interactive terrain. There's obviously some that's not interactive, but the majority of tables have every piece of terrain is interactive, which means you can pick it up and throw it at motherfuckers, which is awesome. It's so awesome. So there's a car on the table, you're like, I'm going to throw this car at you. Yes, there's a fucking food truck. I'm going to throw that food truck at you. It's unreal. Holiday lace and paints. But there's every piece of terrain is sized. So you may have a terrain piece that's size 3. So that size of the terrain piece actually creates more decisions, because if you are the same size or smaller, I'm doing very well, Layson, then you can get cover from terrain. If you're bigger, you don't get cover. But some models have flight, some models have wall crawler, which allows them to walk over those things, but others don't. So if there's a big size 4 in the middle and you don't have wall crawler or flight, it might create some difficulties. Well, it's a scenario game and it's a quick game. Like, we played 3 games in 3 hours. You know, that's one game of Warhammer back in the day. So it's definitely quicker than, you know, most games, but I think that's an advantage of it. But certainly my list is, the lists that I was playing there were A-Force, which was led by She-Hulk. If you have a Hulk in your list, invariably you're going to get into punching. But yeah, there's you know, factions that lean more into scenario play. There's some scenarios that encourage fight, and both of the lists that we were playing, She-Hulk and Shadowlands Daredevil, both of the factions want to fight. So Shadowlands Daredevil's leadership ability is, if someone is touching or securing an objective or holding an objective, you get to re-roll a dice against them when you're attacking them. So he's leaning into, if you're going for scenario, I'm going to kick the shit out of you. And then She-Hulk's obviously punching on. So, should I paint that in gold? No. It does look metal though. Maybe I'll do it in metal. So so that's the pre-game. The actual game is, the first part of the turn is called the power phase. So in that, every model generates power, which is just like a resource they use to power their abilities. Most models generate 1. Some models will generate more. For example, She-Hulk generates 2 per turn. Hulk generates 3. And there'll be some other things that occur during that phase. For example, the tactics cards. So the A-Force tactics card, you play that during the power phase. And that's it. And then the person who has priority will activate a model. And then the person who does not have priority will activate a model, and vice versa, until the turn ends. The round ends, I should say. Round and turn. Not interchangeable in this game. The 2 things that are pissing me off about playing Corey at the moment is, one of the core tenets of the game is priority. So if you have less models than your opponent, you will likely always have priority. However, Criminal Syndicate have a tactics card which is called All According to Plan, which allows you to spend 10 power at the start of the turn and steal priority, and it is very annoying. From what I understand, Shatterpoint will be similar. It's a similar scale anyway. Bum, 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 bum. How to do gold on an element that's this small? So yeah, to quickly finish off the thing, during the activation, models activate, spend power, do things, you get 2 actions a turn. You can do a move, you can do an attack, you can do 2 moves, you can do 2 attacks. Superpowers, which are things like throwing buildings, do not take up an action, so you can do as many superpowers as you want if you have the power. And at the end of the turn, you go to the cleanup phase, which is where points are scored. And that is the extent of the game. Most of the extracts and secures, you can pick up 1 point for controlling them. So if there is 3 on the board, there might be 3 available points. So that's the game. First to 16. Maximum of 6 turns. So how do we make this metal look like vibranium? Do we use a different wash? I think we will. But what wash do we use? Yeah, maybe we use that purple that I don't like. Magos purple, I think it's called. Good on you, mate. That's exciting. Are you happy with the finished result? Did my feedback help in any way? Or did it just muddy the waters on your project? For whatever reason, AMG have not prioritized the box art painting of their figures as much as other companies, which I absolutely think is the wrong decision. But they've recently changed that. They've got Aaron Lovejoy has done the last couple of box arts, like he did Blob, Pyro. I'm pretty sure he did Rhino as well, based on the shots I've seen. So hopefully that means they're taking a little bit more focus on the box arts. So the interesting part about turn 0, which is basically everything that happens before the game starts. So it's list design, that's tactics card choices, and then it's also the models that you bring to the game from your 10. That's all considered turn 0. And I don't really like the term turn 0 either. Is leadership abilities and affiliations. So every model in the game, with 2 exceptions, has an affiliation or several affiliations. So for example, Killmonger, who is this guy, is affiliated with Wakanda, one of the affiliations, but he's also affiliated with Criminal Syndicate, I think, because he's a bad guy. So when you're choosing your 10 models for your list, and then choosing your faction, one of the key rules that you have to keep in mind is leadership abilities. So some models have a leadership ability. For example, She-Hulk. Yep, absolutely. All leadership cards are open information because the leadership abilities are placed on characters. So She-Hulk's leadership ability: anytime a model in your team takes damage, you get to give a power to someone else. That's her ability. However, to be able to access those abilities and to be able to use specific affiliation cards, your roster needs to include more than 51% of models in your roster must have the affiliation that matches that leadership ability. No, there's no real hidden information stuff, you know, and that's why I'm talking about basically learning everything I can about the game, because once you know everything, that your opponent doesn't get to surprise you and go, haha, look at this, now I have this. That just doesn't happen, because every card is open information. But going back to affiliation, so with She-Hulk, she's 6 threats, she's 6 points of your available, 15 or whatever. For me to be able to use her leadership ability, I have to include at least 51% of A-Force models to be able to consider the faction A-Force and benefit from that leadership ability, but also be able to utilize tactics cards that are specific to A-Force. And so choosing a roster becomes, more important, because you need to include enough points levels to be able to account for different threat games, and then have enough for your affiliation that you want. You guys having a go at some friends? Correct. And so the terminology for those characters that aren't in affiliation are splash characters. So you'll usually have an affiliation of 4 or 5 models that you take in your list, and then you'll have a few other splash characters that you can throw into your list. So if you're playing a five models, it's easy, right? You're taking 3 models that are affiliated, and you can take 2 more models that are unaffiliated, and that is completely fine. That's still considered an A force. It gets trickier though when you're taking 6 models, because you need to have 4 of those 6 be affiliated to be able to gain the benefits of affiliation. So the odd numbers are easy, the even numbers are hard. You don't often see people running 7 models. It is doable at the higher threat levels, but it's usually 6, 5, and 4 is the most common. So 6 and 4, you're taking 3 models that are affiliated and 1 or 2 models that are unaffiliated. So your roster design becomes very important at that point. What you can do that's even more interesting is a thing called dual affiliating. So let's say you have Storm as your leader, who's an X-Men character, and then some of the X-Men models that you include are Rogue, Gambit. So both Rogue and Gambit are affiliated with the Brotherhood of Mutants, which is the evil mutants, as well as X-Men. So all of a sudden, you've got 3 X-Men figures, but you've also got 2 Brotherhoods. So if you make your 4th choice Magneto, you have 2 cores of 2 different affiliations, Brotherhood and X-Men. So you can shift gears based on what your opponent's doing, what your opponent's brought, and what you think is going to suit the situation better. The only issue with doing that is the tactics cards, because you only get 10 slots. Most affiliations have a number of really good tactics cards that you'll want to include. And if you have a limited number of tactics cards, slots becomes a challenge to decide which way to go. Anyway, that's the part of the thing I'm enjoying right now, is just going, ooh, what way do I go? What models do I take? What cards do I take? You know, those sort of questions are really interesting. No, cards are one and done, with a couple of exceptions. There's a few cards that are reusable. So, for example, Magneto has a card called Magnetic Refraction. So Magnetic Refraction is anyone within a range 3 of Magneto gains cover. It's a Brotherhood only card, but if you've played Magnetic Refraction, you automatically get it back into your hand at the start of the next turn. So he basically has permanent cover for his whole team, the whole game, if they're within 3 of him, which is really cool. The Convocation have a card called the Ironbound Books of Shamgorath, which allows you to change any physical attacks that your models suffer to be considered magical attacks. It's a really interesting faction, Convocation. They're all the wizards, and the wizards are really, really bad at physical defense, with the exception of Ancient One. But they're all incredibly good at mystical defense. So the Ironbound Books allows them to turn all physical attacks into mystical, so they can stop bad shit happening. But that's a one and done until someone in your faction is KO'd, at which point you then get to gain it back into your hand. So that creates some interesting list design, because there's actually some models that you can KO relatively easily, and there's even one model that you can KO yourself to gain another benefit. So all of a sudden you've got this card that you can bring back online when you are wanting to bring it back online. That's hugely impactful. So that's a fun one. Do I have a favourite faction yet? No, I don't at the moment. X-Men were really fun to play, but I'm not sure if that was just because it was my first one that I played and I was pumped for. A-Force were actually really fun. I liked playing She-Hulk. That was fun. No, I haven't got one yet. I'm making my way through all of them. Gambit is pretty good. Wolverine is not as good, but they just released a new version of Wolverine who is very good. So you are able to play both of those and have a pretty good time, I think. That's just the AK 3rd generation black. Nothing special. Just going to use the hairdryer, friends, sorry. Else, cool. I don't think I've tried any Pro Acryl, actually. Njidaka. So, next on the list of models to paint is maybe I've got Doctor Strange, Sorcerer Supreme, sitting there, and he's been sitting there for a long time. I went in on convocation and very quickly decided that they weren't a good fit for me. Actually, that's not true. I really liked playing them, but they had a couple of clear weaknesses that I couldn't seem to list build around with the knowledge that I had. So I think coming back to them now will be interesting. G'day, Majar Aznabal. Well, I'm going to do a Hulk, but I'm not going to do a display quality Hulk. Not sure who I want to do display quality. I do want to try and do one. I actually tried to buy a new display case for these because I am indeed out of room with my Kingdom Death, and with these guys I have no room left in my cabinet. I do love green, I do love skin, but it's a boring model. Good enough. Why are you so weak? So weak. I have, yes, I have seen it. The little mushroom people. They do indeed look really cool. I will say this though, having painted a couple of Lucas's sculpts before, they are awesome and very, very challenging to get to look as good as he does. He has such a unique style. It's very, very difficult. Very, very difficult. Oh, he is unbelievable. You know, sometimes you see painted stuff in the flesh and you're like, well, that's interesting. Not as nice as I was expecting. Lucas Zaba's stuff just looks like fucking... what the fuck? Anyone else watching Willow, the TV show? 4 episodes in now. It's getting pretty bad reviews. I'm enjoying it. It's on Disney Plus. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. People are smashing. Really? That's fascinating. Oh yeah, you definitely have to watch Severance. Severance is up there with shows of the year, I think. Mad Mardigan will have to appear at some point, mate. There's no way they do a Willow TV show and Mad Mardigan does not make an appearance. Come on now. Mad Mardigan. Mate, they got him into fucking Top Gun. If Mad Mardigan does not make an appearance in the last episode of the season, I will eat my hat. Eat my hat. It was just too good to hate, wasn't it? Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Do 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 do. I really have to practice painting African skin tones. Yeah. Told you to watch it. It's good. Glad you listened. So I had Aeon Trespass Odyssey turn up this week. Big adventure game. Haven't even unboxed it yet. It's very big. Very, very big. And I finally did my top 5 games of the year. In 5th place I had Thunderstone Quest. Very fun game. In 4th place I had Eclipse. Second Dawn for the Galaxy. In 3rd place I had Imperium Classics and Imperium Legends, which are the same game, just 2 boxes. In 2nd place I had Oathsworn Into the Deepwood, and number 1 place for this year is Marvel Champions, which I've played 80 something games of this year, which is outrageous. So Marvel Champions was the clear and easy winner for this year. The other placings were pretty difficult this year. We played a lot of good games. I mean, I had Dwellings of Eldervale in the top 5 up until literally the last game of it we played when I dropped it out because we didn't have a great game at 5 players. Snap doesn't fit into it. It's a mobile game, so it doesn't count. I mean, I did put Spirit Island on there a couple of years ago, which is a mobile game, but it's also a board game that I played on the table as well as on my phone. So still counts. Am I gonna try some fucking Gore Grunter? Yeah, the number of games this year was over 200. Admittedly, 80 of those were champions, and 30 of them were Imperium solo. Most of those games were solo this year. So, but yeah, it was a good year of games. Very good year of games. Eclipse Second Dawn for the Galaxy was start of the year. I played like 5 or 6 games of it. I was like, this is the best game of the fucking year. It's crazy. Alright. That's looking better. So I thought Eclipse would be number 1, and then Oathsworn finally started shipping, and I was like, it's going to be it. This is going to be number 1, and it was very, very close. And maybe if we'd finished the campaign, and the conclusion was as satisfying as I'm hoping it will be, Oathsworn may have taken the top spot. But I just played so much Marvel Champions this year, and then they released the X-Men and Wolverine and Storm and Cyclops, and it's just like, fuck yeah, X-Men are the best. Wonder if I should do a top 5 TV shows of the year. A little bit harder for me to track them. There's been some good ones this year. House of the Dragon. Pretty good. No, haven't watched Andor, mate. I have not got into the Star Wars shows. I've not watched any Star Wars show. I haven't watched The Mandalorian. I haven't watched Kenobi. I don't know if they've done any others, but I haven't watched them. And I actually can't pinpoint why. Because I like Star Wars. I went and saw the movies at the midnight screenings. I went and watched Return of the Jedi by myself in cinemas. Had a great time. Done. Here's my She-Hulk, by the way. She-Hulk. She's good. She's good. And I'll give you a quick rundown of my black order, which I painted over the last few days. Here is Ebony Moore. And here is Black Swan. And here is this chick who's called Supergiant, who I've never heard of until something. And here is Proxima Midnight. With her blue hair. And here is her husband, Corvus Glaive. Supergiant. Go Corvus, it's your birthday. We're gonna party like it's your birthday. And here is a dude named Black Dwarf. He's not that small though, is he? He was surprisingly easy to do in my 2-hour time frame. Because he's big and he's limited colours. And here is the Mad Titan, Daedalus. Oh, I'm going to put my gloss varnish on the gems. There's about 20, I think. I'll just run through them. Alright, A-Force, which is all of the ladies. Asgard, which is obviously Asgardians. Avengers. Black Order. Brotherhood of Mutants. Cabal, which is like evil guys. Convocation, which is wizards. Criminal Syndicate, which is all of the Kingpin's mates. Dark Dimension, which is just a Dormammu faction, basically. If you don't remember Dormammu, he's the guy that Doctor Strange faces off against in the original Doctor Strange, which I haven't watched for a while. I might watch that today. Defenders, which unfortunately has not got Jessica Jones yet. It's Luke Cage, Danny Rand, a few others. Guardians of the Galaxy, which is all of the Guardians. Hydra, which has all of the Hydra villains, including Red Skull, Baron, Strucker, Zola. Inhumans, which is the Inhuman models. Midnight Suns, which is all dudes who truck around at night. And then Sentinels, which is the newest affiliation, which only has the Sentinel robots. And Shield, which is led by Nick Fury. Spider-Foes, which is all Spider-Man's villains, which is a cool affiliation that I played. X-Men, Wakanda, Weapon X, which is all people that were targeted by Weapon X, or the Weapon X program. Web Warriors, which is all Spider-Mans. Winter Guard, which is all of the Russians. X-Force, which is Deadpool and Cable and those guys. And that's it. So, quite a few. Okay, red. I have seen some of them, yes. Nope, they haven't done those. But, ooh, I don't know that there's too many affiliations left, maybe? I'm not sure. I mean, they haven't done Young Avengers that I know of. They haven't done Champions, which I think is another one. And I only know that from the Marvel Champions game, by the way. Like they haven't got Nova or Ironheart. But there's certainly lots of characters to go. In terms of affiliations, maybe not that many, but characters, lots. Lots and lots. There's a shitload of X-Men they haven't done. Hot orange. What am I going to do for lunch today, friends? Cheese on toast. Interesting options. Ramen could be a go. There's an awesome ramen place just across the road. Interesting choices. Oh, I tell you what, I can't have a banh mi because every week when I'm at work at a certain one of my locations, there is a place called the Banh Mi Factory, and it's just down the road, and it is just the best banh mi I've ever had in my life. And they do crispy pork on Fridays. Every Friday for the last, I reckon, 6 months, I've had a crispy pork banh mi and some rice paper rolls, and it is just a stunning experience. Stunning. Mate, I am living the dream. That is an absolute fact, because I get to have banh mi every week. Unfortunately, I have it multiple times a week, so. But they're about to go away for 5 weeks, so. No Banh Mi Factory for 5 weeks. I don't know what I'm going to do with myself on a Friday. I'm going to struggle, is the answer. Is that any different? Do I need to add some black? Yes. don't know why. This guy's been sitting on my to paint list for fucking ages, and I really like the model, so I don't know why that is, but we're into him now, and I'm excited. Wielder of the sacred fire, you cannot pass. Flame of Udun, you shall not pass. Every time I think of that scene with Gandalf at the bridge, I remember the weeks leading up to Lord of the Rings. So obviously Lord of the Rings was pretty awesome, and there was a trailer that came out. The first time I saw the trailer was at a shopping centre on the big screen, like just out the front of the cinema, and I watched it, and there was that moment when Gandalf goes, "You shall not pass," and then he pounds his staff, and then the Balrog's foot stomped down. You never got to see the Balrog in the trailers. And I just remember I got goosebumps like basically all over my whole body. The first time I saw it, I was just absolutely buzzing. It's like, I can't believe I get to live and see this film in my lifetime. It was so good. And I then proceeded to see Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, at the cinema on 5 separate occasions. It just rustled my jimmies. It was so good at the movies. The cinematography, the sweeping landscapes of New Zealand. Incredible. Incredible. No. I have 2 places left to visit in my life, on holiday anyway, that I haven't been to. New Zealand is one of them, so that I can indeed go to Hobbiton. The other is Japan. Always wanted to go to Japan, but not like New Japan. I like Tokyo and that. Just some rural, medieval Japan. Yeah, I've been pretty much everywhere else I wanted to go. Been to Greece, been to Italy, places are amazing, particularly Rome. Yeah, Rome is a very special place. You just walk around the city and bang, right next to you is some ruins that have been there for 3,000 years, and you're like, we're very fragile creatures. We leave very little mark on this world. But some things endure. And those have endured for a very, very long time. I found walking the Roman Forum to be a surreal experience. Rocket's currently over in the UK right now. It's -6 degrees. She's having a wonderful time. And she's about to head somewhere colder. She's about to head to Reykjavik in Iceland. See if she can catch herself a glimpse of the Northern Lights. Yes, the old Hiroshima and that. I imagine it would be pretty humbling. Auschwitz was a very similar humbling experience. The old those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. We are almost exactly 1 month out from the Crimson Brush, friends, which is on the 19th of January, so less than a month away. This week we'll hit that milestone, which is exciting. Do need to pull my finger out on a few things. Haven't done my trophies yet. That's okay. I'm sure I can manage to get some trophies organised in 4 weeks. I think this red has become my new favourite red for my approach to red, friends. This is the AK 3rd Generation Deep Red, it's called. It is a tremendous, tremendous red. let's do the tricky part of the red. I think this Winsor & Newton is finally starting to give up the ghost. It's been a good run. Hello there, Bucks. With this one, I've done pretty much every single one of these figures with it. It's a good run. What an interesting cape to paint. It's an interesting cape to paint. You never ever feed a baby blackroot. And now for the magic. Bucks has finally started to see the light on fluoros now. On fluoro red. He said to me the other day, Deno, I don't know if I can paint a red without including fluoro anymore. You've corrupted me. I feel you, mate. Fluoro red just fucking punches the red so far into your eyeballs. It's a wondrous thing. It is this red, Vallejo Model Air fluorescent red mixed in to the deep red from AK. It is indeed Vallejo. Botroides. You're welcome. And what you'll see once this finishes drying and I get to do a second layer is it's awesome. I do it with green. Absolutely do it with green. I don't do it with too many others. I don't find that fluoro pigments much chop for any other colours other than red and yellow. So and look at how much punch the red cloak has now. It's awesome. Whoever pioneered this technique is a fucking legend. Oh, that's right, me. I mean, I'm sure I'm not the first person to use fluorescent pigments, but I'm the only one who I've ever seen do this. What'd you score last night in Snap? Oh, awesome. I like Beastmen. I played them a bit. Not a lot, but I played them. Whew. I appreciate the nostalgia of that pickup. So now, so I got up really tired this morning, friends, as if you've been around for the whole time, you would know. I had to sleep in. Oh yeah, I'll tell you about that in a sec, Bucks. And I said to myself when I got up, I'm not streaming today. I'm not streaming. It's not happening. Don't feel like it. So I just sort of lay there, played a couple of games of Snap. Me and Hugo had a little cuddle. And then a wrestle. I got up. Prepared for the day. And then I was like, what am I going to do today? I know. I'm going to paint some toy soldiers. And then I thought, fuck it. I'm just going to stream painting some toy soldiers. So, I guess the reason for telling this story is, even though I didn't really feel like doing it when I got up, I pushed through. And now I'm really happy that I did, because I'm going to finish Doctor Strange and Killmonger and be down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, about 20 models to go. That's cool. Yeah, so Wednesday night, mate, I played against Corey, who used Criminal Syndicate, Shadowlands, Daredevil in 3 games. And I played A-Force. I played She-Hulk and her team. And it was a very interesting experience. What did I just apply then? On these areas. That was just more of the fluorescent red, just to glaze some more colour in. So in the first game, the scenarios were quite spread. Hang on, I'm just trying to remember the first game. No, I think the scenarios were central in the first one. We played Gamma and Hammers. Yep, Gamma and Hammers. And so I played Angela and She-Hulk and Valkyrie and someone else, and it was really good. Went really well. I nearly had him. He managed to pull it out in the end, but I felt really good about how I played in that one. And then the next one we played was a much more spread scenario where there was big gaps all across the board, which benefited him because he took a wider team. But again, I came very close on winning him that one, which was awesome. And then finally in the third game we played the same, and I got absolutely smashed in that one. But that one was interesting because She-Hulk got airlifted in. she's got a card that lets her teleport in. Angela teleported her in, and on reflection, as I've thought about the game, I think I actually had a scenario advantage to him. So I don't know that I needed to do this, but I double moved Angela, and She-Hulk got airlifted into the middle of the board, but he hadn't yet activated Bucky or Hood, and Bucky and Hood both just turned around and went, okay, we'll shoot She-Hulk, and she got hit with 8 rapid fire shots, and he did 20 damage to She-Hulk and one-shotted her in the first turn, so she didn't get to swing her fucking fists in anger, which was not great. I think Corey is a criminal syndicate player, and I think he I think they're potentially his favourite list, but also the list that he thinks is good at the moment in the meta. So most lists include both of those models, yes, so that he can then make a decision about the leadership after deployment, which is when you make that decision. But it was interesting playing A-Force for the first time. I got to use some models I'd never used before, which was She-Hulk, Angela, and Captain Marvel. And I didn't really like playing tall. So the term tall basically means you have multiple high points cost models in your list as opposed to lots of lower points costs. The term tall or wide refers to those two. So the advantage of playing a tall list is you have less activations, which means you'll often get priority every turn, and those activations are generally more meaningful because your characters are usually more effective. However, the disadvantage is you don't cover as much space on the board. Oof, getting hungry now. It was really interesting playing She-Hulk, and I actually quite liked playing A-Force and what they brought to the table. So I think I will actually play them again at some point. As I've said, I'm moving through all of the factions at the moment, affiliations, I should say, to try and land on something that I like. That resonates with my style. And I don't believe I've landed on that affiliation yet. Well, certainly I may have, but it'll be interesting if it ends up being X-Men, which is the first one I started with. The next affiliation I want to try is Web Warriors. So we'll give them a crack at some point. What are we at? Oh, we're only at like 45 minutes on this guy. I am on a tear at the moment. I'm on an absolute fucking tear. I don't even know how I paint shit so quickly, honestly. I don't. Agaros Junes. Where are you, Agaros Junes, you little fucker? There you are. It's literally 7 days till Christmas, friends. I hope you're all looking forward to a break. I certainly am. Looking forward to a break. Even if it is only an abbreviated one. Does he? That's awesome. I didn't see that. I thought the new AK book was the Arnel Lazaro one. Is it not that one? You're talking about a different one. Well, he's got a big section in that. That's awesome. I haven't seen that book yet. Oh, get off there, you fucker. Cool, man. Well, we all know he's the best painter in Australia. So it's only fair the rest of the world knows it too. Oh, cool, man. I'll have a quick peruse. A quick la peruse. Here's a fun fact for everyone. The term peruse, most people think it means to take a quick glance, but in fact, perusing means to review in a detailed fashion. Very nice. How good. On your DC. You fucking legend. Oh, he's a great man. He's a great man. I wish him nothing but success in his life. Alright, what do I need to do now? I need to do a little bit of this gear. Outside is frightful, but my dear, it's so delightful, as long as you love me so. I'm getting urges to watch The Expanse again, friends. It's a tremendous show. Tremendous show. Today I have no plans other than relaxing after the multiple Christmas parties I was forced to attend. Cool. I may find myself in that vicinity. However, I make no promises. pastel blue. This guy has been actually pretty good to paint. Pretty good. Suyo. Alright friends, we're going to burn through the next few sections. I can go and get some lunch because I'm fucking hungry. I hope you've enjoyed seeing this paint today. Because I've certainly enjoyed painting it. Good mate, I'm glad. We've managed to knock out another 2. Which has been pretty consistent on the last few streams. I've managed to plink out 2 of these bad boys. So I'm hoping, this may be an aspirational hope, but I'm hoping to finish all of the models in 2 months of starting the game. Once again proving why I have no friends, why my girlfriend dislikes me, because I am just obsessive when it comes to this sort of shit. Right, one of my tricks that I was using for the Black Order has just been the old Black Templar contrast paint. Which I've now lost. Where are you, little fucking dog? There you are. Yeah, a bit of Black Templar mixed in with a little bit of Regal Blue. Well, not Regal Blue. Signal Blue. Mixed in with a little bit of black and some medium over really roughly highlighted black areas like this one. It's quite a nice end result, and very quick. Still looks like black. Ooh, yo. I don't know why I feel the need to mix in those extra colours with it, but Black Templar maybe just doesn't have enough coverage. Not sure. You're talking about in Snap? Because I think just before you started playing, they actually did a slight nerf to her because she was getting played in basically every list. She was 2-1, or maybe 2-2. I think she was 2-1. You know, playing her Nightcrawler into it, bouncing Nightcrawler off. It was good. It was good fun. Fuyo. Alrighty, well, this is looking pretty good. Let's do the yellow think I'm gonna airbrush that bit. Do this, tiny little bit of this. Ooh, spin it out, son. Show me what you got. I agree. I agree. That is much better. It doesn't feel as washed out. It feels like you've got a really close replication of the nice. That side shot's no good though with the out of focus arm. Yeah, still some depth of field issues, slight depth of field issues. Me being very critical. But they're the best photos you've taken for sure, for sure. That is a very difficult question that I am definitely not qualified to answer. But it sounds fun. Do it. Come on. Oof. I'm excited to see it, mate. I'm also excited to see you fail. Master Yoda, that is why you fail. I tell you what, I pulled this one out of the fire. I was not enjoying the idea of painting this guy for some reason, but we've pulled it out. We've pulled it out of the fire. We didn't start the fire, but it was always burning since the world was turning. I actually don't know why I wasn't looking forward to painting him, because he's a cool model. Just wasn't feeling it. But now he is done. We can move on to some Web Warriors and Dormammu. Alright, let's just get a little bit of the old Nasdaq yellow, and I think we are calling it a day. An hour and 20 minutes. Fuck, I'm a fucking freak. Get in. Yeah, I loved that. Absolutely loved it. Done. Cool. Alright, well, I have 3 bases that I'm going to do some leaves and newspapers on, and then I'm off to grab some lunch. Lunch. Ooh, steak sandwich. Like a ghost steak sandwich. Dragon spotted in the woods. It's cool. We didn't start the fire, but it was always burning since the world was turning. I don't, because that'll just make me depressed. I don't have that for lunch. I think 2 newspapers there. Yeah, we'll give She-Hulk another one. So all I'm doing is soaking these in a mixture of PVA glue and water. I have a big container of it sitting next to me that I just keep. Doesn't dry because it's in an airtight container. And it's always ready whenever I need it, which is great. And then I'm just going to sprinkle some sand, leaves on these bases, and that is all she wrote. What a fantastic effort today, Deno. You've outdone yourself today, mate. I give you a 7 out of 5. What was that? What was that? Wasn't that an internet thing when someone was like giving 7 out of 5 or something stupid like that? What was that one? Does anyone remember that? Or is that made up in my brain? I'm sure it was an internet thing. I'm gonna have to go have a look now. Come on, Deno. Get it together. G'day, M Fair Service. Welcome, champion. Get on there, you dog. Now stay there, you dog. Get up there. Where are you, Doctor Strange? So I'm going to use these leaves to cover up the fact that I did a really bad job filling the gaps where this thing joins up. So it's ended up being a pretty simple and effective basing approach for these guys. The really cool thing about MCP is all the models come with interesting bases already, so you don't have to do that much. I don't want you on there. Alright, get out of there. Yeah, you get a lot of bases. Do I want a leaf on this little vibranium cat? Yes. Awesome, mate. What have you got on there on your Etsy shop? Well, they are hollow. However, as you know, I fill in all of them with the putty and the thing, and that feels so much nicer. It's so much nicer. But they come like this. Awesome, mate. Maybe I should set up an Etsy shop for painted models. That could be fun. Do you have much success selling on there, M Fair Service? Nice. Maybe I should look at it. Mind you, I doubt Etsy's the right place to be trying to sell display figures. But, yeah. Look. I mean, I don't know that I'm going to go around painting another whole set of MCP. That's the problem. May not do that again. But who knows? Alright friends, that is the conclusion of today's stream. Young Andrew and I are back tomorrow night for our end of year wrap up on Party Monday, where we'll review what has been a tumultuous and terrible year for many reasons, but also a tremendous and triumphant year for many other reasons. And we will go through the models of the year that we think are the best painted models of the year, and probably do some other stuff as well. It is my pleasure, mate. This is all for my American friends, this one. But I do actually enjoy a just nice, quiet Sunday morning paint, so let's go raid All Might. He's on at the moment. And he's always very nice when he comes and says hello. Cool. See you all tomorrow, friends. Let's go.